Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, aliens from another universe, welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show. I'm Anthony Totri. We are changing it up a little bit today. We've got DJ Erik Ruby behind me today. Let's go. We had him move from the passenger seat to, what would you be moving to now, I guess? Are you just the captain?
I think I'm you're technically driving podcast wise, but I'm like
You're in the car seat. You're in the car seat.
I'm making sure like the AC's on, the sound is right. I got the aux bumping. Like that's on me. I mean, yeah, pulling double duty here. Some call me PHNX Travis Hunter. You know, it is what
that's
it is.
What we're doing here.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Pretty much, if we're equating the situation to a car, if anybody has heard the song "Jesus Take the Wheel," Erik is exactly who Carrie's singing about.
Am I Jesus?
You in this moment, I think you are. But look, we are just a few days away from the new year, from 2024. Crazy to believe that 2023 has gone by this fast. And when you look at what we're going to be doing over the next couple of days, it's going to be 2024, and we're going to be doing basketball postgame shows. So we don't really have the opportunity to sit down outside of today and discuss what the football program, what the basketball program, and what one other group can maybe look forward to changing in 2024 to help get Arizona State on a successful track. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be talking about New Year's resolutions for Kenny and company, for Bobby and the boys, and really Arizona State fans as well down the stretch. But if you are new here, listening on audio, watching live, do us a favor, hit that like button, leave a 5-star review. Let us know what you like about this podcast. Erik, before we get into Arizona State's New Year's resolutions, Kenny don't stop. Kenny has not stopped in terms of adding talent. And if you didn't see it, if you're not huge on social media, Kenny Dillingham and Arizona State adding another player from the transfer portal yesterday, this time New Mexico State linebacker Keyshawn Elliott. Keyshawn has a lot of eligibility left. He's played 2 seasons at New Mexico State. And the thing about Keyshawn that I really, really like, that I think a lot of people are really going to see, not maybe this coming year, but as Kenny continues to add guys from the portal, from high schools, you're going to notice the type of player, the breed that Kenny Dillingham is trying to go after. And I said it to Erik off camera that one of the first things I do when I see a transfer player or a commit is you immediately go and you look at their size, right? Now, size is important. Okay, it's not everything, Erik.
What?
It's not everything, but it's important.
I was told differently.
It's important when it comes to certain things, okay? So when we're talking about Keyshawn Elliott, a linebacker, normal linebackers that play in the pack, normal linebackers that play at Arizona State in the past. We're talking guys 6'1", 200 pounds. 6'1", 200 pounds. That's like an average linebacker in the pack. You look at an SEC linebacker. You go look at a Big Ten linebacker. We're talking about guys that are different sized, right? Keyshawn Elliott is one of those guys. 6'3", 225 pounds. That is a large man that you are putting in the center of your defense. Now, does he play outside linebacker? Does he play on the inside?
We'll figure that out later.
To be seen, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
We'll figure that out later.
But you're adding a guy who has got experience on the field. He is quite literally New Mexico State's best, or was at this point, New Mexico State's best defensive player last season. From a numbers perspective, because there are people out there that, again, are going to be all numbers, recorded 111 total tackles. 59 of those were solo, 2.5 sacks, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, 6 pass deflections. This guy was all over the field for New Mexico State last year. So you look at Kenny Dillingham and what they've added defensively, specifically at that linebacker spot. That linebacker spot after the season, I think we can agree that it was probably, I don't want to say the worst, but it lacked depth. Yeah. It lacked star power. It lacked real potential because you lost Trey Brown, right? Now, you lost Will Schaefer. Now you look at that position. You could make a legit argument that linebacker is the deepest position group, not just defensively. There's an argument to make for that position, that and running back as the two deepest
I was going to say, I think running back you have to, just because you're not losing Cam Scattaboo and you're adding Raleek, and that room in general I think has the highest level of talent. Yeah. But this one's extremely exciting. Even Donald said he's excited about the linebacker depth now. And what you mentioned where you said that they took the best player from New Mexico. Okay, they also did that to San Diego State. Yep. So they took two of the best defensive players from, again, these are not SEC schools, right? These are not college football powerhouses, but being the best player
means something
on one side of the ball on a college football team that's not like Division II, Division III. That's a big deal.
Absolutely.
And they're coming here, and they're coming here in droves now. That's two of them. I'm still thrilled. I've been thrilled. I don't think anything's going to really change how I feel about Kenny, like adding, because I'm already so high up on him. But it's nice to see the confirmation of things.
Yeah. Right? No, you're absolutely right. And look, there were issues with the linebacker room last year because one of the guys that Kenny and the team added from the transfer portal last year in Juju Mitchell obviously was removed from the team, let go from the team, ended up transferring to Colorado. And, if it wasn't for off the field issues or everything that was kind of going on with him, Juju would have been a really, really good linebacker at Arizona State. Definitely a talented dude, right? So Kenny has proven that he can go get those types of players. And this year, that linebacker room, quite literally, you've got Keyshawn Elliott, right? Mm-hmm. Best defensive player on New Mexico.
Check.
New Mexico State. You've got Zyrus, the best defensive player, linebacker, San Diego State.
Check.
You've got Jordan Crook, Arkansas SEC linebacker that you've added to the fold now. You're returning Tate Romney. You're returning a young guy in Kevion Thunderbird.
Great name.
Great football name. Now that position group is set up.
Prince Dorba,
and he's more of an edge guy, but still, like those, just that five, those core guys. Now there are obviously more linebackers in that room, but that core of five guys is seriously, I have so much confidence in that group because look, there are guys that you bring from the portal that you get and you're like, this guy has potential, right? This guy coming out of high school was this, he was that. Mm-hmm. Zyrus and Keyshawn both put up numbers early on. They both have eligibility, right? So you're building. You're like, these guys are like, if you're playing Madden, right, or you're playing 2K, one of my favorite things like to do is like you're making a franchise, right? You do a franchise on Madden and you look at some of these younger players and they got the little puzzle piece next to them, mm-hmm. right? They're a puzzle piece. They can be a building block for your team. Zyrus and Keyshawn, they're building blocks for this team defensively. And I know AJ Cooper has got to be thrilled, the linebacker coach at Arizona State. He's got to be thrilled with the guys that Kenny and the rest of this defensive staff have been able to recruit to come to Arizona State because this defense is going to be a lot of fun. But I do want to transition over. I know we were going to start talking about New Year's resolutions, and we are going to do that. But first, I want to tell you about our friends at Some Burros. If you have never been to Some Burros, let me tell you right now, you just got to go. And for New Year's Eve specifically, you got to party. Maybe you don't want to cook, right? I feel you. It's everybody was cooking for Christmas Eve, Christmas dinner. Go try out their Fiesta platter, okay? They've got red, green chili beef, mini chimneys, homemade taquitos, chips, guac, and their famous hot sauce. They got everything you need that is going to fuel you into 2024. They got locations throughout the valley and Flagstaff, so you're never far from delicious, time-tested Sonoran-style recipes, lovingly prepared since 1986. Let Some Burros cater all your holiday fiestas, big or small. Order online or find one near you by visiting someburros.com. Seasons Eatings.
Ooh, okay.
Some Burrows.
You want to know how I know some Burrows is good? Not just from my own personal taste buds.
Let's hear it.
But growing up, I had a friend that worked at some Burrows. And you know, like when somebody works at a restaurant, like you see the inner workings of it, and then you can tell if that place is good by whether or not that person eats there still. Yeah. He ate there like 2 to 3 meals a day. 2 to 3 meals a day while he was working there. Like that, to me, that is the biggest.
That's the sign of a good place.
Exactly. That's the sign of respect if you're willing to work somewhere.
Yeah.
And also eat somewhere, because I've worked at some places where I won't go back and eat anymore. And I could tell you, Sun Burrows is not one of those places. Plus, there's one 5 minutes from me, and I absolutely love it. And while we're here, we're talking about our fantastic sponsors. It's hard not to talk about BetMGM, man. True. Because BetMGM, we were talking about it yesterday. We didn't do it, which I'm a little bit disappointed in us in putting down our parlays for the college football bowl season. However, USC kind of shut us up.
We don't need to talk about
they shut us up a little bit. Hey, look,
homie threw 6 touchdowns.
Homie did throw 6 touchdowns there. So maybe it's a good thing we didn't put our money down on that. But I'll tell you what, if I opened up an account and I put my money down on that, guess what? I'd be getting my bonus bets back because that's what BetMGM does for you. Sign up and deposit at least $10 into your BetMGM Sportsbook account. Place your first wager and receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. If your bet does lose, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. So we might have to cook up a little bit something different that USC kind of let us down. But you can sign up for BetMGM using bonus code PHNX to place your first wager at the BetMGM Sportsbook through the BetMGM Sportsbook mobile application of at least $10. If that bet loses, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. You can check out the show notes for detail, and now you can check out the homie Shane reading the disclaimer.
Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
Oh,
Ontario.
You know what it is.
Yeah, you
got to get absolutely stuffed.
There it is.
Ontario.
There it is. But look, let's go ahead. Let's start talking New Year's resolutions. Starting with Kenny and the football team. Look, man, my New Year's resolution for Kenny Dillingham and the football team is trust the talent. Trust the talent that you've gotten. Last season, when you watch Arizona State football, for me, it felt like there were times that we knew, the fans knew, the media knew, there were certain players that could have been utilized maybe in a different way. And I'm not going to sit here and say I know more about football than Kenny Dillingham and those coaches, because I absolutely do not. Those guys quite literally are masterminds. They are scientists when it comes down to football. For me, though, sometimes I think there is a tendency to maybe try and do too much, right? Specifically, I look at guys this year more so than last year. Cam Skattebo, Jalen Conyers, Elijah Badger. Those 3 were the best offensive players for the Sun Devils in 2023, hands down. You won't argue that, right, Erik? That's unarguable.
Not one bit.
Okay, so those are the 3 best players. Now, when I tell you about those 3 best players, they all did more than one thing.
Oh, yeah.
Cam Skattebo was a running back, quarterback, wide receiver, punter.
Right.
Casually. Jalen Conyers, tight end, quarterback, wide receiver. Okay? Elijah Badger, wide receiver, special teams, return specialist. Those are your 3 best players. Now, if I go and I turn on an NFL game and you've got, pick a team. Pick a team, Erik. Give me any NFL team.
Any NFL?
Give me any NFL
How about
team
the
right now.
Chargers?
Okay, well, that's a little... Okay, you want to go to the Chargers? Fine, we'll go to the Chargers. I'll give you their best 2 offensive players.
Okay.
Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
And outside of quarterback, you're talking Austin Eckler probably, right? Austin Eckler plays running back. You don't see Austin Eckler line up outside on the perimeter and play wide receiver. You don't see Keenan Allen in the backfield as a running back, right? Unless there's an occasional trick play.
Right. It's every once in a while. It's not a common occurrence.
So trust the guys that you have in those positions. This season, you've added talent. You've added a lot of talent from the transfer portal. You've gotten some young bucks to come to Arizona State in Tempe. I want to see Elijah Badger at wide receiver. That's it. I want to see what Cam Skattebo can do when he's getting 20 carries a game as the running back. Okay? Trust Canyon Floyd to be your punter. Trust Jaden or Sam to be your quarterback. Trust the talent you have at wide receiver on the perimeter, right? I don't want to see EK as a return guy. I don't want to see it. You've added Raleek Brown, who, yes, he's not going to be your starting running back.
He should be the guy getting.
He should be your return specialist.
But I mean, you can throw EK out there every once in a while, like you said. Kenny likes to get those trick plays,
occasionally,
right? But you're right in saying that trusting the talent would have been hard this past season. Like, this couldn't have been a resolution this past season just because of the state of where the roster was.
Yeah.
But now a full offseason of recruiting, transfer portal, all of that under Kenny Dillingham. Right now, before we're even close to spring ball, way more complete of a roster.
Absolutely.
You can look up and down and say, okay, there are guys at every single position that are going to get run and should get run.
Yeah.
So I'm with you, man. I do want to see some of these guys that showed they can do it all. Like, it's amazing that Cam Scattaboo can do it all.
Yeah.
Props to him, right? But how good could he be?
Exactly.
If he could just focus on one thing.
And that's not all on the coaches, right? You also got to look, we're giving credit to, in 2023, you got to acknowledge the fact that this team was beat down with injuries. So you have to understand that. But if you're looking at a healthy team, this is the way it needs to run, right? We got Rhonda in the chat. What's up? Love Rhonda. We got Joshua in the chat as well. We believe in Kenny D. No, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I think that's the thing for me is specifically having relationships with some of these guys and like just kind of seeing them progress throughout the season, right? Like, yes, injuries are a thing. This team right now that you've got this roster is going to be competing to be bowl eligible next year. I think that's the next step for this program. And how do you get there, right? You've lost talent. You have lost guys. Ro Torrance, not on this football team anymore. Jalen Conyers, not on this football team anymore. Jordan Clark, not on this football team anymore.
BJ Green,
not on this football team anymore. But you've added guys. You've got guys that have opted to return to Arizona State. And I want to see what those guys can do when they've got faith and they've got trust from the coaches and from their teammates to go out there and do their job. And I think, again, that's part of the balance of adding from the portal versus adding, high schoolers is Zyrus and Keyshawn, two guys we spent a lot of time already talking about. You can trust those guys because they put up the numbers. That's where it becomes a little bit more of a sticky situation is where you bring in guys like in 2023 when you brought in a Clayton Smith, you brought in a Prince Dorba, and they don't necessarily have that immediate production year one at their first school, right? That's a little bit more of a tough scenario. But now you really do. It feels like Arizona State has a lot more depth at certain positions. Linebacker, wide receiver, running back.
Even at quarterback now, too. Because, yeah, you had multiple quarterbacks that had to be put out there, but now your top two are two that, I mean, listen, you can be as confident in Jaden Rashada as you'd like. Like you said, you never know about injuries, right? And I'm a lot more confident in the backup quarterback situation, whichever way it might go now than I was last season. And again, now that means you're not going to be tapping into your tight end and your running back to be playing that position for you unless, unfortunately, a lot of injuries happen, which you never know. You can't control that. But I am still, though, the most intrigued by all the holdovers because those are the guys that Kenny and his staff already had in there with their fingerprints all over this season.
Yeah.
And now you get another offseason with them, another spring ball, a summer, and you're coming back. You're over a year plus of being under these guys that we have a lot of faith in as coaches and as leaders. Yes, everybody coming in from other schools who have already put up numbers or all these high schoolers coming in who have potential and promise. Like, that's all great, and I'm not trying to push that to the side by any means. But at the same time, the guys who have been here, who have been developing, they're the ones who really need to step up and set the tone. And I'm interested to see the growth between years 1 and 2, because if Kenny can take guys and say, this is what happens when you come to my system and I get my hands on you, for lack of a better term, for a certain period of time, here's how you improve. Here's how you get better as a football player. Then next season we hit transfer portal and everybody wants to come to ASU.
Look at this past season.
Well, right.
We're talking about a 3-9 football team.
And look how many, they are not the top transfer portal destination, but there's certainly a big one. There's certainly one where you are bringing in players who are good.
Yeah.
Again, 2 of the best players on the defensive side of 2 college football teams decided to come to Arizona State University in the midst of a massive rebuild.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes to what they believe that this coaching staff can do for them personally, because at the end of the day, it is a personal game right now.
It is. And look, this is a talented roster already. It's a talented roster. Joshua in the chat, huge pickup yesterday. Hope the New Mexico State defensive tackle is next. Yeah, he's talking about Sterling Webb. So we'll see. Sterling Webb has been offered by Arizona State. Also received offers from a handful of other schools, UTEP, Indiana, Coastal Carolina. So we'll see where he ends up coming. But you're just talking about the depth of this team, and you're talking about a New Year's resolution for 2024, and you want the trust, right? Now, trust is a two-way street. You have to absolutely, if you are the player in this scenario, showcase that in practice. You have to showcase that in the meeting room. And how does that come about? Well, that's when you get to the culture of this entire thing. But if we're just talking talent, let's talk talent, right? We've talked about Justin Watley, a guy transferring over from Cincinnati. You're bringing back CJ Fight. On the edge, you've got guys like Clayton Smith, Prince Dorba, who have proven that they can be legit pass rushers at the Division I level at Arizona State. You go back to the second level of this defense. You've got Zyrus. You've got Keyshawn. You've got Jordan. You've got Tate Romney. Okay, let's go back to the third level of this defense. You've got Shamari. You've got Xavier Alford. You've brought in guys on the perimeter like LaTerrence Welch, Javen Robinson. You're bringing back Ed Woods. Okay, the defense right there on top of some of the young guys that you brought in, some of the young guys that were a part of that 2023 class that we are still waiting to see how they can produce and impact this team. That defense has talent. That defense has depth. Offensively, okay, you've got Jaden. You've got Sam. Kenny said it. You don't need a senior. You don't need an old guy. You've got 2 young bucks that they're just going to go head-to-head all spring, all fall. Iron sharpens iron. Whichever one wins, that's your guy. On the perimeter, Elijah Badger. Melquan Stovall is coming back. Xavier Guillory. You still got Jordan Tyson. Jordan Tyson was Colorado's best player, period, 2 seasons ago, right? That's a talented dude. You've got Cam Scattaboo. You've got Raleek. You've got DeCarlos Brooks. Not to mention a bunch of young running backs in Kyson Brown, Jason Brown Jr., Tevin White still. Like, the only thing is the offensive line.
They're and there's still a lot more time to come, and they have gotten a couple offensive line guys as well. And you said something with the quarterbacks about iron sharpening iron, and you don't need to have a senior coming in. If anything, I'm more excited that it's 2 young guys who can look at last season and say, I didn't get enough of what I wanted. Yeah. For different reasons, right? Yeah. Sam being on the bench, Jaden being injured.
Yeah.
But they're both going to look at this past season and say, I could have done more than that. I can step up and I can bring more than what I brought to the table last year. Yeah. They have something that they need to prove, and they're trying to prove it against each other, but they're also like competing not just against, but with each other. They're trying to make themselves better while also not putting the other person down. That's just not the vibe that's coming out of this entire locker room, but specifically the quarterback room, especially out of Jaden Rashada. So I don't know. Sometimes I sit back and I think, like, are we being too like
so
positive,
let's do this real quick before we move on to the basketball team. Play devil's advocate with me here, and we can go back and forth, right? Am I being too optimistic here? Tell me how I'm being too optimistic.
So that's the thing. That's what I'm racking my brain, because I am with you. Right? Okay. Like I agree with you on a majority of things because you're just so smart.
Oh my God, I want to slap the shit out of you.
You can. I'm sitting across the room this time, buddy. But I will say this. Be a little wary about like getting overly hyped about guys coming out of the transfer portal, because at the end of the day, like, there's a reason why these guys are leaving. And that's not because they're bad football players, but a change of scenery, a change of scheme, a new place. Ideally, it works out great for everybody, but that's not always the case, and that's not just in football. That's everywhere. You might start a new job that you're super excited about, and you think it's going to be a great fit, and then you get there and you actually start doing it, and maybe there's one person there that you don't vibe with, and that throws everything off, and you weren't even expecting it. Not that I expect that to happen, but again, like, these are not the greatest players coming in the transfer portal. You're not getting the top 5 guys coming in the transfer portal, right? Like, bowl eligibility is definitely the goal. I wouldn't be too shocked if they fell a little short. Yeah. I don't think that'd be my expectation, but at the end of the day, if 1 year from now it's like, man, they were so close to being in a bowl, I wouldn't be the most shocked. That's how I would play devil's advocate with this, but
and that's valid.
I'm with you. Like, I agree
valid.
with you.
There are people that, we can talk about it. Kenny can talk about it. You can add players. You could see where they came from. You could see what they did at, previous schools, high school level, whatever. But it really is a show me, don't tell me, right? So Arizona State, Kenny Dillingham, these players, you're going to have to show it in 2024. And that's why the New Year's resolution for the football team, for me, is quite literally just trust the talent, trust the guys that you've got in that room. Now, look.
Why is Donald getting mad at me?
For you, bro.
Donald, I was literally asked to play devil's advocate, and I said, hey, I don't truly believe this because I agree with Totri, and then I laid out an argument. I know you know what, Donald? I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry that I answered a freaking question that I was asked.
For everybody on audio, Donald in the chat said, "Get out of here, Erik. I don't want to hear that today."
This is not like I don't believe that. I think there's a chance that could be true, but that's not my personal belief.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm not gonna get worked
Look,
up
one thing that we
okay.
all love hearing.
What's that?
Is Arizona Lottery, man.
Yes.
Arizona Lottery. Hearing about those scratchers. I got holiday scratchers for my dad for Christmas, like legitimately. I had won some, and then I spent a ton of money for him on, yes, a couple gifts, but holiday scratchers, because who doesn't love winning? And you got holiday scratchers.
Yeah, I got to come on camera for this. That's how important this is, okay?
Let's see. Look, holiday scratchers, quite literally, bro, they are the best thing out there. Like, we're gonna get real close here, man. We're gonna get real close here.
I'm gonna have to steal this from you.
Take it from me, bro.
So yesterday we talked about my lovely mother buying me a Speedo.
You said Susan's her name, right?
Yes, Susan. Buying a Speedo for me as a joke for Christmas. Now, also in my stocking, I found so many scratchers. And I went to her, I was like, oh, that's so great. Like, you listened to our Arizona Lottery read. She was like, no, I got that for you before you guys started doing the reads for Arizona Lottery. So I thought to myself, like, what a great coincidence. Now, this is the last one. Had a couple winners. Won $15 and won $5 on another one. This is the big boy. I'm going to scratch this off, and we're going to see.
Win some money on this.
This is to me, this is a special moment. This is the last Christmas-specific scratcher that I'm going to have. So I'm going to scratch it. I'm sorry if it's a little weird. I mean, might need Totri to do some play-by-play, okay?
I want you to win, like, violently here, because if you win what it says, up to $100,000, we're going to have a great 2024, okay? And I know it's your scratcher, but I'm talking
yeah, you're saying we.
We are going to have a great 2024. Look, they have it all with Arizona Lottery. Tons of scratchers, not just the holiday ones, but the ones they've got going year round. And look, start off the new year with some big winnings over at Arizona Lottery. Again, find a retailer like our friends over at Circle K near you at ArizonaLottery.com. You do got to be 21 or older to play Arizona Lottery. Let's go ahead. Let's see what we got here, Erik. Do we have any winners yet? Not looking like you've won anything?
I don't see a winner on this one. I don't see a winner.
No winner, chicken dinner?
You check that for me? I don't see any winner.
So you need to get, what do you need to get here?
I need to get a Santa symbol.
I don't see a Santa symbol, my friend.
You know what? It's okay, because you can also go on the Arizona Lottery app and you can scan these in and you can earn points and rewards for future things. So even if your ticket isn't a winner, which I had multiple tickets win out of my stocking, by the way. So
did my dad. He did. Yeah.
It's a gift that keeps on giving. So I'm going to go use those scratchers that I won. I'm going to get some more of these. I'm going to scan these in the Arizona Lottery app, and it's going to be great. I'm still, like, this is not just a holiday thing for me now. Like, I'm addicted to these scratchers. I got to be. So check them out.
Addicted to winning, man. That's what you got to do. Arizona Lottery again. Now, when you're winning money on Arizona Lottery or any of our other partners, right? Maybe BetMGM or any of those other amazing sponsors that we have, well, you're probably looking for a place to spend some of that money. And how about Empire today, heading into the 2024 year of our Lord and updating and renovating your home with the best flooring out there. With Empire today, you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a price match guarantee. Empire today, the best place to get new flooring. So, of course, they're going to have some copycats out there, but guess what? It's a copycat league. And when you're copying Empire today, they're not going to do it the same way. They're not going to do it with the level of care that Empire is going to take with what they do for you. And right now, schedule a free in-home estimate. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount. $350 off. That's a lot of money. $350 off discount.
You know how many scratchers that is?
That's a lot. That's a lot. When they use the promo code PHNX. Now, restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com/PHNX for details.
The guys, they installed some new floor over for us over
really
at the Big Boy studio that we're only allowed to be in
the
like
Big
once
Boy
a month.
Studio.
They put a whole new floor in there, in and out, quick, efficient. It's holding up great still. We're moving up all stuff all over it. There's a lot of traction over there. But even Eddie Johnson came in this morning for outside shots. He's like, "Ooh, this is a nice floor."
New flooring.
So get yourself some of that.
Keeping it up with our New Year's resolutions. Let's go ahead, talk Arizona State basketball. This one's pretty easy, man.
Yeah, dude.
Just play better. Just play better. Erik, you got to feel the same way, right?
Yeah, we were originally going to do 2 different lists of resolutions. And then I was going through your resolutions. I'm like, yeah, sorry, the chair there. Yeah. For you audio only, I went around from the producer's desk. I sat down and dragged a chair next to Totri and crowded his space. Then I left the chair there.
The chair was staring at me.
I'm extra chaotic today, and when I'm in 2 roles.
Okay.
But yeah, we were talking about, okay, what would this be? And I'm like, there is no other resolution.
Yeah.
There can't be, right? Yeah. What else would it be?
I mean, outside of play better, maybe for Bobby to find an offense.
I mean,
find
maybe
a system.
You can talk about off-season stuff too. Maybe you need to be recruiting better.
But that comes like all of that other stuff comes with playing better.
Exactly.
Yeah, like you literally, if this is not just for Bobby, right? This is for the entire team. Is you need to look in the mirror and you need to ask yourself, are you a Division I basketball player? Do you think that you deserve to be a Division I basketball player? And that is a question for Frankie Collins. That's a question for Adam Miller. That's a question for Jose Perez. That's a question for Alonzo Gaffney. That's a question for Sean Phillips. That's a question for Zane Meeks. Are you a Division I basketball player? Do you believe that you are worthy of a roster spot at the Division I level at Arizona State? If the answer to that question is yes, then turn on the tape and watch what you've done this season. And if that's acceptable to you, then you need to change the answer to your original question because it's not been good enough. Offensively, it's stagnant. There's no moving. And when you go into 2024, it's ironic, right? Because Arizona State plays a basketball game tomorrow. They play a game on Sunday, New Year's Eve. They start conference play, Stanford and Cal. 2024, your conference play, you need to play better. Offensively, there needs to be a rhythm. I don't care if Frankie Collins needs to hold a players-only meeting where he says straight up, I need to touch the ball every possession.
Honestly, he should at this point. Honestly,
somebody needs to. Somebody needs to step up and be that guy. And early on in the season, when I said be that guy, I meant I need somebody to go be the guy and drop 20. Now I just need somebody to be the guy and be the damn leader of this fucking team.
Yeah. It's sad. It's honestly sad because, like you said, all those guys who should be looking in the mirror and discussing, am I a Division I basketball player? My answer for all of them in a vacuum, individually, is yes.
Yeah.
But then you go and you put the sum of all the parts together, and maybe it shouldn't just be play better. Maybe it should also be coach better.
Yeah.
Because if now we're sitting here and this is hitting me as we're talking
That's
about
valid. Very valid.
And we're talking about, man, these guys individually, they're all supposed to be here, but they're not playing like they're supposed to be here. Frankie Collins might need to do a players-only meeting. It's like, wait. Not that they're not the problem, because at the end of the day, the players are in control of themselves. But especially in college, the team reflects their coach.
Yeah.
And this is not, by any means, the first time that I have sat back and said, a Bobby Hurley-led team is not playing together. A Bobby Hurley-led team is not getting the most out of all of its parts. In fact, it just feels like everybody's playing out there separately at the same time.
Yeah.
It's almost a pattern at this point. And I know
it's not almost, it is.
It is. And there, I mean, Donald's in the chat saying fire Bobby. We have seen lots of comments and lots of people go about that and say, like, maybe Bobby's just not the right guy. Maybe it's the players. Maybe the players need to step up. At the end of the day, it's everybody.
Yeah, it's the program.
Because the program as a whole, all of it, it just has not been up to the standard that it should be. And to be honest with you, the standard is not that high.
No, it's not that high. The standard for Arizona State basketball, and I'm going to get to B's comment here in a second, the standard for Arizona State basketball over the last 5 years has been sneak in. Sneak in. When it comes to Selection Sunday, sneak in, right? We're going to see you in Dayton. We're going to see you in Dayton, or we're not going to see you at all. That's been the standard for Arizona State
You're going to be playing
basketball.
Syracuse and Dayton, or you're not going to be doing anything else.
Seriously, that's what it's been, and that shouldn't be the standard. And I said it at the start of the basketball season, right? That the standard for Arizona State basketball this year specifically should be Selection Sunday comes around, Arizona State fans, the only question that they should be asking themselves is where are we playing? It should be what seed are we? It shouldn't be if. It should be who and when. That should be the standard for Arizona State basketball. And right now, that's not it. That is not the standard for Arizona State basketball. And I don't know, because this season, unless you turn that shit around tomorrow, it's not happening.
I can't sit here and say that I have any confidence in that
No,
happening.
and you shouldn't. That's the thing, is I don't have any confidence in them. You shouldn't have any confidence in them. The fans, as it stands right now, shouldn't. It is a put up and shut up season from this point on for Bobby Hurley and Arizona State basketball. And we've had Bobby on the show. We've had players on the show.
They're
nothing
great
personal.
People.
It's
just
not
what we
personal.
see.
It's the reality of the situation is you need to go win because now you are coaching for your job because you have a new athletic director coming in at some point, right? You are, to B's point, you are Big 12 bound next season. It's not
tough.
getting any easier. If you keep that bar here, if you keep that bar for Arizona State basketball at, are we getting in? Are we going to play in Dayton? Are we a first four team? Are we? If that's the standard going into the Big 12, why? Why bother, right? The standard should be, hey, look what Arizona's doing in Tucson. Look what Kansas State does, right? Look what Kansas does. Look what Houston does. Look what Baylor does. Look what Colorado's doing. Why can't you do that? Why can't that be the standard, right? Why can't that be the ideal spot for Arizona State basketball? Because let's be real, the Pac-12 sucks this year. The Pac-12 at best might see 3 teams in the NCAA tournament.
Well, that's what I was looking at right here. The first 2 games of conference play are Stanford and UCLA. UCLA is 5-6. Stanford is 5-5. Technically worse records than ASU. But going into those 2 games, what is your confidence level that ASU can win both, let alone one?
I would say Arizona State would be barely favored against Stanford. They'd be dogs against UCLA.
You know what's crazy? They are 81.4% dogs to Stanford, according to ESPN Matchup Predictor. 18.6% chance, and they have a 6-5 record to their 5-5 record. Guys, like that's not acceptable.
No, play better.
And again,
be better.
And Donald in the chat said it's been 9 seasons of ass, and it's hard because there have been some incredible high moments.
Absolutely.
I mean, talking almost being the number 1 team in the country, but again, that doesn't matter when you crumble the same season. We saw that up close and personal. That's when we were covering the team at ASU, was when all of that stuff was happening. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, Bobby's a great coach. Trey Holder, Cody Justice, like, wow, like Shannon Evans, this is great. And again, the sum of the parts, while they hit a way higher peak than I think this team will ever even get close to sniffing remotely, they still did not come together and play up to the potential that they even hit that season. That's a pattern. So I wouldn't say it's just 9 seasons of ass. There have been some good seasons, but it is 9 seasons of the same fucking story.
And the same story is it's Arizona State plays 2 separate seasons, right? That's my gripe with it. And that's kind of, to Donald's point, saying zero consistency, right, is you got to play an entire season. I don't need Arizona State to go out there and be a team that is going to win every single game. I don't need that. That's not what this program is. That's not what this program will probably ever be, okay? But what I do ask is that you look at that, 2017 season, when you have Trey Holder, Cody Justice, Shannon Evans, Remy Martin coming off the bench, right? That team, the last undefeated team in Division I college basketball, a win away, and then you crumble when you get to conference play. You're playing two separate. It looked like two different teams. That's my gripe. Is you're either this team or you're this team. I need you to pick. I need you to either be really fucking bad or really good.
Because it's a terrible game. You can even look at this season specifically. There was a 4-game win streak where they exercised demons. And Craig Byrne just came in here and told Totri to watch his fucking language. So, listen, you can look at it just at this season, right? 4 good wins in a row. Vanderbilt, Sam Houston, San Francisco, SMU. Okay?
4 good wins.
4 good wins in a row.
4 wins. I wouldn't say they're good wins.
Like, for this team, if you beat a team by 17 points like they did with Sam Houston, that's a good win. You exercise your demons against San Francisco, that's a good win. You blow out Vanderbilt, that's a good win. SMU by 2 points, anytime you can come back and pull out a game like that, that's a good win. Yeah. Guess what? Then you turn around on the road against San Diego. You lose 89-84, and then your entire mojo is lost. There's no bounce back, anything like that at all. Then you lose to TCU by 20 points, and then you lose to Northwestern by 20 points. Again, 4-game win streak, 3-game losing streak. It's every single season. And Bees even said it, Donald saying in the chat, like there is no identity. You know what? There is an identity. That's the problem. The identity is the consistency. And LTC says consistently inconsistent. Like this right now, if I'm an athletic director coming in and I'm just looking at all the past seasons, I'm looking at Bobby, I'm saying, what are you bringing here right now? Because I don't think Bobby's a bad basketball coach.
No, I don't think so either.
But
I think he's a phenomenal recruiter too.
But I think that Bobby is somebody that I don't believe fully should have the complete control, be at the helm. I think Bobby could be one of the greatest assistant coaches and recruiting leaders that college basketball has ever seen. But you put too much on his plate. He has shown he cannot balance it all. He just can't, because why are so many players, some of them 5 stars, coming in here and losing their way?
Yeah.
That's not a good look, because if I'm a 5-star and I'm considering maybe some smaller schools where I'm going to get a bigger run than a Duke or a Kentucky or a Kansas, and I'm looking at Arizona State, I'm like, look at the guys that went in there and look at how they left. Almost none of them leave better than how they came in. That's a reflection of the program.
Yeah. Bees in the chat. This is who we are. This is what we do. Every successful program has something they can hang their hat on. But again, 2024, you could change the narrative. Be better. Friday, before we even get to 2024.
Ring in the new year on a good note, please.
You got to start it off
Stanford
high.
And Cal, man.
Get back on track.
Because if you're not beating Stanford or Cal, you're not beating Utah. You're not beating Colorado. You're not beating Washington.
And you shouldn't be on the same court as Arizona.
Your next winnable game is UCLA on the 17th, and then you have USC. You're probably not going to beat USC. You're not going to beat Oregon. You're not going to beat Oregon State.
Change the narrative.
It can start Friday. It's sad. It's sad.
Be better.
It's honestly sad.
Play better. Coach better. That is pretty much the New Year's resolution for the Arizona State basketball team. And look, we've got one more New Year's resolution that we are going to get to. But first and foremost, I want to tell everybody about my sunglasses, about my Shady Rays, because let's be real. I wear these things all the time. I wear them the moment I wake up. And look, there are times where you have rough evenings the night before, okay? I've been known to have a time or two where I wake up not feeling my absolute darndest, but it's okay.
It's what happens when you spend all night praying so hard.
Man, Shady Rays comes through time and time again. If you don't believe me, go check them out, because they've got 1,000,005 different options for you. You can shop the entire collection at their brand new location, Kierland Commons, a full stop shop for all things Shady Rays. And if you don't love your Shady Rays, you can exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's literally no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back, and they've got a great deal still going on for you guys exclusively for our PHNX listeners. Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use that code PHNX for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Do it. Get Shady Rays on your face, man.
The only way that I'm going to be enjoying ASU basketball games this season is with our good friends over at OG's. Because,
Absolutely.
oh, geez, it is hard to watch ASU basketball play right now, but it's not hard when you take an OGs and all those expectations slip away. And then you can kind of have some fun with it. You're laughing a little bit. You're like, they're not as good as we thought that they were going to be. It's all good. It's just different when you are on just a little bit of OGs. And whether you want to take a couple OGs and go to another planet, which I know a lot of people do.
Another planet.
If you want to take one and you just want to be chilled out a little bit, or if you want to take their little mini ones and just have a very slight edge taken off. They got indicas, they got sativas, they got the RSOs, they've got a CBD balance. And I'll tell you what, man, it's getting pretty hard to find OGs out here. They're getting sold out in a lot of places. So what you need to do is go to ogsbrands.com. You're going to learn about the availability of where they are, where you can get them, how you can buy them, what types of flavors they have. But they have everything for you, especially if you're trying to maybe dip your toe into the THC world, into the edible world, or anything like that. You're not going to find a better tasting, scratch-made local gummy like OGs. They have been partners with us forever. I have been eating OGs since way before I even worked here. This is not an ad read. This is a public service announcement. Go to ogsbrands.com and get you some of those delicious gummies.
Absolutely the best in the game. And look, our final New Year's resolution is for Sun Devil Nation. It's for Arizona State fans, the basketball team, the football team, any of the teams. Just show up.
Just show up.
Just show up. Now, look, it's easy to say it, and it's, you go to the games, whether you're going to a football game and you're watching a 3-9 football team in year one. You're going to the basketball game and you're watching a team on a 3-game losing streak that doesn't look like they have a real offensive identity. You go to any of these sporting events for Arizona State, and you're gonna create memories. You're gonna have experiences. That's how you show your fandom. When it comes to Kenny Dillingham, when he was hired here, what was he talking about? Right? If you listen closely, if you tune out all the noise of how we're gonna change the program, it always starts with Kenny Dillingham grew up an Arizona kid. He grew up loving Arizona State. He grew up going to Arizona State games. He grew up going to tailgates. Right? He grew up loving this university through thick, through thin. It really is a marriage when you have a college football program, a college basketball program that you follow religiously. If you want Arizona State, seriously, if you want Arizona State to run the Big 12, if you want Arizona State to compete, seriously, just to compete, you got to show up. Because you look at every other school that competes, that shows up, that wins, that's constantly playing in bowl games, that's consistently in the NCAA tournament. Find me one program that's at that level that has a fan base that doesn't show up. You can't do it. Yes, it's easier to show up when they win. Absolutely. But it almost makes it more sweet. When you show up, you watch a team grow, develop. Yes, they're going to lose from time to time. Nobody's saying they're going to be undefeated, and that's okay. But showing up, supporting the team, supporting the university, it makes it sweeter when they win, right? It makes it sweeter when you say, hey, I went out in Kenny's first year to a bunch of football games. They were 3-9. Look at us now. We're a 9-10 win football team every year. We're getting guys that would never come to Tempe before. And you got to see that change. You got to have those experiences. You can laugh with your buddies about, hey, remember that time? Right? But if you don't go to the games, you can't have that. And that's not just an Arizona State thing. That's my gripe with Suns fans, with Coyotes fans, with Cardinals fans. This is not just a New Year's resolution in Tempe. This is a New Year's resolution for every motherfucker in the Valley. Show up. Show up to the damn games. Be there through the start, through the finish, right? The Suns, right? Take those guys, for example. They're supposed to be championship contenders. They're not right now. Don't mean they can't get there. Sports are a crazy thing. Show up. Coyotes fans. Watch the rebuild. You want your team to stay in Arizona? Show up. Cardinals fans, guess what? Go to the games. Drink. Have a good time. Laugh about how bad you are because guess what? Just like everything else, it's not going to last forever. The sun will shine again for the Arizona Cardinals, I promise. And it kind of sucks to use Arizona as an example, but guess what? The sun's shining in Tucson. It was dark as hell not too long ago. The worst college football team in the nation. The basketball team, what? How many months removed from losing to Princeton in the NCAA tournament? Their fans show up. Their fans show up. Now, if every team in the Valley had that level of support from their fans in 2024, Arizona would be a place that opposing teams would be terrified to go play. Absolutely. That's my New Year's resolution for Arizona State and really for everybody that's an Arizona sports fan in 2024. Show up. Be there. Support those teams. Did I leave anything out, Erik?
I think you nailed it, dude, because you are right. There is a beauty in witnessing the process.
Yeah.
And we're both very confident, despite what I might be set up to say earlier in the show, that what's going on specifically with football is going to work.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to happen faster than a lot of people nationally, and even not as much nationally. A lot of people locally who aren't as tuned in as the people who are in this chat right now. The people who are on this video right now are probably not the people that
absolutely not.
Message needs to go to. These are the people that understand what the importance is behind supporting that. And to kind of set a scene, when Kenny got hired and I was working in radio, he was going around and he came in studio to do an interview. And he was asked, what if a big school comes calling? What if somebody wants to hire you away and give you like your dream job, big Power 5 program, SEC, say, Kenny, we want you. He said, I already have my dream job. That's the type of dude that you have leading right now. That's the type of guy that you can look at and get behind and support. And now, in the future, those wins are going to start stacking. The tide is going to shift. The tide is going to change. Just like you said, this is not going to be forever. And I'm 10 times more confident in the football program right now than I am the basketball program. But it does apply to everything. Yeah. Obviously, I'm very focused in on the Suns. I produce the Sun Show. It's hard. It's hard when things are not going your way. It's hard when everybody is losing. It takes a lot of the joy out of sports, but then you start to think about the process. You start to think about what it took to get there.
Yeah.
When the Suns made it to the finals in 2021, you know how sweet it made those Marquise Chris, Dragon Bender, Josh Jackson days? Like, in the moment, was I pissed off beyond belief? Absolutely. I hated it. But then the Suns made it to the fucking finals.
Yeah, man.
Devin Booker was the best player on a finals team, dropped 40 balls back-to-back. Did they win? No, but you know what? That's going to make it, when they do win, even sweeter.
And you were there, right?
And you were there
for it.
You were there, and you saw it, and you witnessed the growth, and you looked at guys like Mikal Bridges, like Cam Johnson, like Devin Booker, like DeAndre Ayton, and you say, I saw you when you were at your worst.
Yeah.
Kenny, I saw you when all of your quarterbacks and offensive linemen went down in consecutive possessions in multiple games in a row. I saw you when you almost lost in a game where the entire thing was delayed due to a Haboob thunderstorm. I saw you when you got boat raced by Utah. Like, I saw all of that, and now I see you coming out the other side of it.
Yeah.
There's a beauty in that. Everybody in here knows that. But not everybody out there knows that. And guess what? You're going into Big 12 country, and you got recruits coming in from Big 12 country, and if Tempe's lacking, and then they're going to go to another school in the Big 12 where they sure as hell aren't lacking, that's going to make a difference.
Look, man, to sum it up, if you want to be an Arizona State fan and you want to enjoy the good times, if you can't handle Arizona State at their worst, you absolutely do not deserve Arizona State at their best.
Ain't that the truth?
I'll tell you that right now. Look, that is going to do it for the PHNX Sun Devils show today. If you enjoyed the content, do us a favor, hit that like button, leave a 5-star review, give us a follow on social at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow DJ Erik Ruby at Erik Ruby. That is Erik with a K. And we will be back, like I said, for an Arizona State post-game show here on Friday. Be there or be square. Two things as usual. Go Devils. And peace.
We all silly like the mayor.